Hello guys, welcome to Inside Electronics. So in today's episode, let's take a look at the cheapest Bluetooth speaker that I could find. Now I bought this thing from a local shop nearby and I bought this for around 120 Indian rupees, which is roughly around $2. So this thing is pretty cheap. And speaking of cheap, you can buy this thing online on Amazon and eBay for around 200 something Indian rupees, sometimes including shipping, sometimes excluding shipping, but still for such a cheap price, let's see what we are getting. Now I've been using this thing for almost a month right now, so I can give you a pretty comprehensive review about this thing. So this is the actual unit right here. This, as I mentioned, is a Bluetooth speaker, but also it has the auxiliary function. Let me focus on that. This has pretty straightforward theme to it. There is no written things or anything on it, but if you look closely, you can see, if I adjust the exposure, there are a couple of markings right here. I don't know whether you can see that or not, but there are a couple of writings right there. Yeah, now you can see that. So apart from the Bluetooth thing, this thing has the USB support. It can play music straight from the USB device, micro SD card, and it also has an auxiliary jack which doubles as the USB plug, because what they're doing is they're using the two data lines of the USB as the left and right channel inputs. But the actual thing came with this is just the charging cable. So usually when things like that, it has a split cable, and one of them is a charging cable and the other uses the same port but an auxiliary jack, so that you can use this as an auxiliary device also. And this is a multifunction switch which has a press function, next, pause, and everything else. So let's take a look at the specifications, but before that, for the size comparison, I have a Rubik's Cube right here, and you can see pretty much the dimensions are pretty much the same. In fact, if you take a look at like that, you can see this thing is completely the size of a Rubik's Cube right here. The dimensions are just the same, so you will get an idea about how the size and everything else is. See, if you ever had it, it's a standard Rubik's Cube right here, and this is the dimensions of this Bluetooth speaker. So let's take a look at the specifications. Now I have been using this for a month, and I can pretty much say that the specifications that are written here is pretty much really junk, because it says the working time is up to 5 hours. That's absolutely wrong, because the maximum I got is around 2.5 hours on a full charge, but still 2.5 hours is pretty good. And the speaker output is 3 watts. Yeah, that's fine. This is a tiny little speaker inside here. And the interesting thing next here is this one. The battery capacity is 520 milliamps. It says it is not. This thing is only a 200 milliamp hour battery. I tried charging and discharging it a couple of times using my USB monitor tool, which you can watch the review by clicking the I button up here. And each time I monitored the charge, and it only took around 200 milliamps, the maximum, and it takes around 2 hours, or like 1 hour 45 minutes to be exact. The charging current seems to be pretty low. It is only taking less than 500 milliamps for the charge, even when it is fully discharged. So that's that. The battery charge time is 2 hours. That seems to be pretty close. And these are the features that this thing has. I'm not going to read all of that. So this is the kind of cable that I was talking about, and it says support laptop and everything else. Expanded bass. Believe me, for 120 rupees there is absolutely no bass at all. You don't even think about bass with this cheap speaker. But there is decent enough treble, and this thing is perfect for vocals, the mid-range sounds, because if you play an audio through this, like an speech kind of thing through this, you are not going to see any distortion or any kind of dullness on the sound. The vocals are perfect. The there is decent enough treble on that, but the bass is absolutely zero. Now that's that. And one little thing that I forgot to mention is that this thing says it supports telephonic conversations also. Where is that? See, it says hands-free profile headset. But believe me, I tried 4 different phones and none of the phone was able to make a call through this. It has a mic right here, and in my next video I will disassemble this thing and we will check whether the mic is actually present inside or not. But trust me, I tried using a Nokia 112, a base model phone which is right here. I used the Zen phone which is using to record this video. I used my tablet, I used an Xperia, I used a Motorola. I tried a lot of, like a 5-6 different phones, and none of them were able to make a call through this. Now enough of talking, let's just play it. It has a nice little function.
Bluetooth mode.
So it defaults to Bluetooth mode when you turn it on, and it has this beautiful lighting effect. If I turn off the lights, you can see that pretty beautifully. See, it has this beautiful lighting feature, and every function in this is voice active, is voice respond. If I press this menu button, you can pretty much hear that. FM mode and
line in mode. Bluetooth mode.
So that's really good feature for this thing has. And this thing even tells you when the battery is low and it's time to recharge. It will actually tell you that through this speaker. It says battery low, please recharge, and that's a really good feature to have. So for playing music, I don't recommend this thing at all, because as I mentioned, there is no bass whatsoever at all. This thing is only good for vocals and treble. But you can keep this as a nice little light right here. See, it's really good in doing that. It's lighting up my room pretty beautifully right now. So for 120 rupees or for less than 200 rupees, you can buy this, because this thing is quite hackable. For such a low price, you are getting a lot of electronic parts. The parts itself, if you buy them on a standalone basis, it's going to cost more than this whole thing. So if you can buy a couple of these, but don't buy it for playing music or anything, just buy it for the parts. And if you're an electronics person, you can do magics with this thing. So that's just my review about this cheapest Bluetooth speaker that I could find. Now I have done a lot of reviews about other kind of portable speakers. You can watch them by clicking the I button up here, or the link will be in the description below. So there is no point of me trying to play a song at the moment right now, because you are not going to hear the difference, because it's coming through my stereo head microphones right here. You're not going to will not be able to make out the difference, so I'm not going to do that. But yeah, for 120 rupees you are getting a nice little bed light come Bluetooth speaker. So thanks for watching. See you in another video.